Get over here!
Insurrection erupts across Crimea. The wounds Crimea suffered during the conflict with Dayan have finally begun to heal, and it should be rejoicing in its hard-won peace. How is it that the fires of rebellion have been lit? Bastion, Queen Elincia's most trusted advisor, widely acknowledged for his political savvy, is on a mission to Dayan. And the Grail mercenaries, the original authors of Crimea's recovery, are nowhere to be found. Queen Elincia, close to despair, has nonetheless ordered the Crimean Royal Knights to restore order in Felure. Her only wish is to win the coming battle so that she may stave off a civil war.
It's kind of a jerk move mentioning Bastion there, because the first time I did that, I thought this was going to be a Bastion chapter. And I was we're going to see where Bastion is. We don't see Bastion for a long time. But we get a Joffrey chapter here, and I'm pretty excited about it.
All right, well, we're thrown right into the base. No story or anything, so I guess we're going to go ahead and...
Yeah, the story is in the info section.
Gotcha. All right, let's do it. Oh, boy.
Come on in.
Hi.
May I? Well, speak of the devil, if it isn't General Joffrey himself. I wouldn't have expected a visit since you're leaving tomorrow.
Hi, General Joffrey. What can we do for you today?
Sorry, Amy, but I'm not here as a customer.
Huh?
Oh, I see why you're here. It's about time, too. I'm ready to string that blathering drunkard up by his heels.
Ta-da! Oh, no, you did. You did Mechassault, right?
Ta-da! Oops. Who put that chair there? I could have been killed. Lady Khalil, you beckoned? Mechassault, why are you drinking? You realize that tomorrow we have a battle to fight, yes? Greetings, General. My, you're looking even more dashing and handsome than usual, Your Excellency.
Oh, my lord.
Good grief. That man's an embarrassment. Are you sure he's a royal knight? He's like a pig pretending to fly. Why not put a dog in armor and call it Sir?
Miss Khalil, that's not very nice. I think Sir Mechassault deserves a little more respect than that.
Are you blind, Astrid?
Honestly, sometimes I think she is.
It's the night before a mission, and that fool is a stinking drunk. Probably gambled all his money away, too. And you follow him around, mooning over him and cleaning up his messes. Do you have no pride, girl? What the man needs is someone to slap some sense into him. Perhaps I should.
I've chosen to look after Sir Mechassault. Nobody forced me to do it. And it's really none of your business.
Whoa.
You know, I'm really starting to wonder about your good upbringing. Of all the men out there, what possessed you to place your bets on such a shabby prospect?
What did you just say? There are no gentlemen in this land half as fine as Sir Mechassault.
Astrid, look, I'm not one to question the choices of who wants to be with whom or anything like that, but I'm sorry, this is one instance where I actually kind of agree with Khalil.
Mechassault and Astrid have kind of a cute support conversation you can get in Path of Radiance that, like...
It does give context to this.
It gives some context, but yeah, seeing it
yeah,
like this,
I'm sorry,
just like, Astrid, what's going on?
This is one instance where I'm actually kind of in agreement with Khalil, and I have a bad taste in my mouth for saying that.
Oh my.
Alright, settle down, everybody. Keep this up and the General's gonna pretend he doesn't know either of you.
Fine. I'm sorry, alright? Happy? So, what was it that you needed with that ale-soaked oaf, anyway? I just wanted to go over our battle plan one last time before retiring.
I heard you're going after the Duke of Felure. You think you can handle him?
Of course. However, he's been marshalling his forces for quite some time now. Which means our preparations will have to be flawless if we want to end this quickly.
If only I were up to it. You know me. I'd crush him. I'd kick him apart.
Well, I suppose I could go. Someone of my wisdom and power is easily worth two of you clods.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Lamb Blossom. Like I always say, the best enemies are the ones that are on fire.
I'm sorry, but no. Although I do appreciate the enthusiasm. I don't see the problem. Do you think I've gone soft? My magic is still in tip-top shape, I'll have you know. No, it's just that I'm sure Queen Alencia wouldn't be pleased with civilians fighting against their countrymen. I suppose you have a point.
In that case, let Danved join you. Danved is not citizen of Crimea. Danved will fight like 10 men. Or Devden. Devden, sorry.
No, you were saying it right. You were saying what he was saying. Devden, when did you get here?
Actually, General, this, Oh. This is not Devden. This is a friend of mine, Danved. What? Yes, it's true. People often make that mistake. But Danved is definitely not Devden.
Uh-huh. You look exactly like him.
Doesn't he? Amazing, isn't it? Anyway, you can take him with you. Oh, and no pressure, but the fate of our country depends on the Royal Knights. Good luck, and don't blow it. Danved will fight like a bear, like a tiger. We don't need Largo and Khalil because Danved is pretty amazing.
I understand, I think. Thank you for your help. Well, I suppose that's settled. It's time for you to discuss tomorrow's tactics. Good luck with that. As for that useless drunk, I'll have someone carry him over later. Thank you.
Sir Makalov is not useless! How many times do I have to say it?
Astrid, it's about time you got back as well.
Yes, General. Forgive me. I'll hurry back as soon as Sir Makalov is feeling better.
Give me strength. The sooner the better.
Oh dear.
So, yeah.
That was a lot.
A lot to unpack there, but so Joffrey's like A-team now is Makalov, who I guess Marcia dragged here, and somehow he got into the Royal Knights.
I think only because of Alencia and Marcia to
Yeah.
give him a chance. I remember mentioning this before, but I like to think that his debt to the Grail mercenaries wasn't entirely paid off by the time that war ended. So Ike is like, look, I'm going to leave you here with the Crimean Royal Knights, but you're working for free until your debt's paid.
Look, I don't want you.
Pretty much! Like, say what you will, Ike's a nice guy, but he is not going to keep Makalov around.
And this way Marcia can keep an eye on him. Because they're both conscripted in the same... Yeah.
But anyway.
Astrid followed them here, so... I guess mainly to follow Makalov, because even though we didn't get that support conversation, she's madly in love with him.
I am going to say this, and this is the one thing that I can understand in regards to how Astrid feels about Makalov. Makalov is everything that her family isn't, and the less that Astrid has to do with her family, in her opinion, is the better. Like, for how terrible the game paints Makalov, for how much of a screw-up he is, I do recognize Astrid's mindset in that he's probably better than her family. She does not want to go back home, and in my opinion, for good reason.
Yeah, and then, even though we haven't met him yet, second in command...
What the frick is... What's going on with Devden?
Oh, yeah.
Or Danvid?
Yeah, that's Danvid.
Yeah, what's Danvid's deal?
So this is never given a proper explanation. What I think it is because he defected from Dayan, I think he decided to change his name.
To Danvid.
Yeah.
Instead of Devden.
Yeah, that's a strange character.
And then there's Largo, who's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and let him have this one.
Yeah, you can't really see... So that's Khalil and Largo. They were in the last game, too.
They married.
It's hard to tell, but Largo is missing an arm now.
Oh, yeah.
From an undisclosed incident, he lost an arm.
Mm-hmm, but yeah, so Largo is still around. He's just, like, not playable for good reason.
He's the one character from the last game that isn't playable in this one.
Right.
Which I always thought was kind of weird, but okay.
I'm not sure what that explanation
Why they
is.
decided to give Largo the axe, perhaps literally. But Khalil and Largo adopted a little girl named Amy.
Yep.
Too, and that's super cute.
Oh no, like the thing is, like, after playing Path of Radiance last time and then after like looking through all this again, I have warmed up to Khalil a little bit. Would she still be in my top 10 least favorite Fire Emblem characters? Maybe, but she would be lower. She would be lower, I will say that much.
She was only like 8, wasn't she?
4.
Oh, was she all the way at 4? Okay.
For me, the thing is, like, I understand that Khalil has, like, everyone's best interest at heart. She is a good person. But if there's one character trait that really gets under my skin, it's macho superiority.
Yeah.
I don't like a character that has a superiority complex.
Yeah.
But at the very least, I can say that Khalil backs it up.
Your Majesty, what are you doing with that lance?
I asked your servant for it, and he gave it to me.
Why would your Majesty as Queen do such a thing? Who knows how tangled the webs of rumors could become because of that?
Let the court say what it wishes. You are far more important to me than the whispers of nattering nobles.
You don't need to say that.
Dude, Alencia. I think Joffrey's like one of the few people that she's willing to just be like, no, I'm gonna be myself around this guy.
Yeah.
Because gosh darn it, I need that.
They love each other.
They do.
Joffrey, I'm sorry.
I don't understand. What's wrong?
3 years ago, you fought to free Crimea from the clutches of Daein. While you held this lance, your courage was dauntless and your prowess legendary.
Yes, it's a brave lance, and I'm very proud of it.
I can't have you raise the same lance against your fellow people of Crimea. I'm sorry, I just can't.
Oh, she took one of his lances.
Oh, not just a lance, but probably like his main one.
Your Majesty is worried about the shadow it would cast over my name. The dishonor of using that weapon on Crimeans.
I would never want to damage your pride as a knight. It would be too much to bear.
Believe no such thing, Your Majesty. My pride as a knight is most deeply rooted in my service to you. That will never waver, no matter what. Alencia, you know that.
Then take your lance. Use it to fight for Crimea once again.
Yep,
And
there
then
we
she
go.
gave it to him anyway.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, like, that weapon doesn't have a name, but it is, like, a Crimean treasure.
Yeah.
And it's the same reason why she doesn't want to, like, call Gallia for, like, big help on a, in-borders squabble.
As far as Alencia is concerned, like, this problem is hers and Crimea's alone.
Yeah. And, like, if you use, like, everything at Crimea's disposal to, like, crush a dissenter, it's gonna make you look like a tyrant.
Exactly.
My man!
Oh boy.
Forgive my tardiness, sir. Kieran, second in command of the Royal Knights at your service. Good for him.
Yeah, look at that. He moved up in the world.
Yeah. Sorry to have disturbed your rest. Not at all. If it were your will, General, I would hasten to the very edge of the world at your calling. Kieran, I'm lucky to have such a devoted follower. This is no reward, but there's something I want you to have. A silver axe? It's so sharp! Do you mean I can have it? Do you like it? Like it? My heart is ready to burst! I feel it's like my birthday, and I just got my first suit of armor! Wonderful. I'm glad to hear it. It will look fabulous on the mantle. My family will enjoy it for years to come. I can't tell you how grateful I am. Kieran, that's an axe, not a painting. Paintings are for mantles. Axes are for fighting. I want you to use that axe. What? I couldn't! You can't refuse. It's an order. Understood, sir. I promise to keep it well protected and free from scratches. You're hopeless.
Okay, so he's still got a few things about
Yeah.
him. Kieran is still very much a showboater.
Yeah. You know what? And I bet he loves this promotion. I bet he also hates it because he didn't get it, like, over Oscar.
That's true.
Oscar wasn't here for him to overcome.
Oscar is pretty content as a Grail mercenary right
Yeah.
now, and I think that kind of gets under Kieran's skin every now and again.
I love Kieran. Alright.
That was a lot of prep, but I think we're ready.
Good luck. I'll be sure to keep the palace safe. I'm sure we couldn't allocate more... I'm sorry we couldn't allocate more troops for you. You'll be okay though, right? Of course. We might even have too many. Actually, I'm more worried about the Queen's safety. Make sure the guards stay sharp. Count on it. I'll maintain a tight watch on the area, and there is the backup plan just in case. Good. Hearing you reiterate that makes me feel better, I have to admit. Remember, this isn't for glory. You'll be confronting your own people. Just do your job and come straight back. Yeah, this is kind of sad that,
Yeah.
like, fighting other Crimean countrymen.
I like the relationship between Lucia and Joffrey, too.
Yeah.
Like, in regards to that.
They're just... like, they're siblings, and they're siblings that know that they're both equally devoted to this country.
The Royal Knights have left the capital. We estimate roughly 4,000 soldiers are marching on Felleray. That means 2,000 are left in the capital. That's more than I expected. Well, I suppose it can't be helped. The column headed toward Felleray is primarily cavalry, is it not? Yes, sir. Exactly as you surmise, sir. In that case, the forces at the capital will be led by the Queen's confidant, Lady Lucia. This is most perfect. The soldiers remaining at Castle Felleray have been given detailed instructions, not by the dog barking outside.
Yeah, I wonder if that'll pick up.
False instructions, I might add. The dear pawns. They are so very heroic, yet so very disposable.
Well, that should give you an idea on just what kind of person,
Yeah, he's not here to be a complex
Ludwig
villain.
is. No, no.
He's vying for power.
This is a lot.
It is a lot, but we have a lot too. General, all troops are in position. We stand ready for the assault. Thank you, Kieran. The majority of the castle vanguard appears to be common soldiers. And there's still no sign of Ludwig or any of his subordinates? Correct, sir. And the rest are a bunch of amateurs. You should see them flop around on their horses like ragdolls. They won't last long against the finely tuned skills of the Crimean Royal Knights. Don't get overconfident now. Most of their forces are likely inside, waiting for us to exhaust ourselves out here. Yes, good point, sir. And the main gate. Have you seen it? Breaking through that is not going to be easy. You must be patient. Yes, sir. And remember, we're not facing enemy soldiers. Yes, they're foolish enough to be lured into joining Ludwig, but they are fellow Crimean citizens. Her Majesty would prefer to capture these rebels alive and try to talk some sense into them. I'm amazed, sir. Her Majesty's kindness is touching. I'll convey that to all our men. Listen up. We're to sweep aside the rebels and punch through the fortress gate. Her Majesty wants as many lives to be spared as possible. Set lances. All forces, charge!
Oh boy. Alright, so yeah, everyone needs to be utilized here, but let's take a look at what the hell we are dealing with.
We are dealing with a lot of units.
Okay, so does that dialogue have any precedent as to what we're supposed to do here? Or
Yeah,
are we
let me check
basically...
if there's a bonus experience objective here.
Yeah, because, like, this is a lot of units, and I mean a lot of units, and we gotta... Okay, so, first of all, we got ballisticians here, primed at the top of the gates.
Yeah.
We got, we got a lot of ballisticians. We also have, Tashoria, who is our boss with a Wodao.
Tashoria!
That is still dangerous, though. So,
we do get 200 bonus experience for every enemy left on the map at the end.
really...
Though that's kind of hard to control because we have so many ally units that are gonna... I mean, we can tell them not to attack anybody, but then we might get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the point is just don't feel like we have to go out of our way to kill units.
I suppose. Alright.
It's hard not to want to just kind of clear the field, though.
Yeah, all things considered, like, I'm pretty sure that's what we're gonna end up doing one way or the other.
The lose conditions, I believe, are Joffrey or Kieran dying.
Let's see. Conditions. Conditions... Joffrey or Kieran.
Yep.
And our victory condition is to seize the point.
That's really nice of the game to say Kieran's a critical unit here.
You really like Kieran, don't you?
I do like Kieran.
Nah, I don't blame you. Alright, let's see what we can do here. This is gonna be a dangerous fight, but we got this. And the birds here, none the wiser.
Yeah. Birds, you want to move.
Oh boy, so... I mean, these guys aren't necessarily dangerous units, it's just there's a lot of them.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to, like... Yeah, move somebody into attack range, see what we're dealing with stats-wise.
Okay.
You don't have to keep him there, just...
I think what we can start out with right now is to... I think right here, in particular...
You want to make a wall?
Yeah, Joffrey, Danved... It's going to be so hard not to call him Devden. Danved and Kieran can form a wall here, and Astrid, Marcia, and Makalov will remain behind a little bit for the assault once they come in.
Okay. We want to keep an eye on any bow knights, especially.
Yes.
Because they can kill Marcia really easily.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any archers here? Doesn't look like it. We don't have any archers, like, immediately. None up here. None up here.
Okay,
up here.
so not until...
Up there.
Okay.
Up there.
Not until we get to the actual walls.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this is a lot. Like,
Yep.
This is a lot. So, yeah, let's create a quick wall here. Let's actually start out, like... We can go ahead and, kind of just start out this way. We got a bunch of weapons using the war funds that were provided to us. So, we're gonna utilize those for the time being.
Yeah, we got everybody iron weapons. One thing to note that was pretty funny is that everybody has a healing item, either a concoction or a vulnerary, but Makalov only starts with an herb.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny to me. And Makalov also starts with a coin, because he's been gambling.
I think what we can do, these guys have... Oh, no, we got one axeman here. So, steel sword, steel lance. Yeah, they got the triangles covered, so... I think for now...
Well, what's going to happen is, as soon as we end our turn, our guys are going to all move up and start attacking things.
Yeah, so
So there's going to be utter chaos, and then we just need to take advantage of it and hit characters using the weapon triangle to the best of our ability.
Alright, then let's go ahead and move guys over here for the time being. And we shall do what we can. One thing I do appreciate about this game is that they definitely make this like game, like Radiant Dawn in particular, overall, feel like an actual war zone.
Yeah, this feels like about the size I would expect of, like, trying to crush a small rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
Feels really weird being on the side that's trying to, like, stop the rebellion. Usually in fiction, you are the rebellion.
Yeah, but in this situation, like, you know, well, we kind of started the rebellion in the first game, but not really. It's more like, you know, we're trying to take back the country that was so rudely taken from us. Because, you know, invasion.
If you consider it that, like, Dayan already won, then yes, we were a rebellion.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, I mean, they make Ludwig a very one-dimensional villain. I mean, even... He has less development than even Gerard. Like...
Yeah. But, you know, like, they know exactly what they want to do with him, and they do it.
Yeah, because they don't... They want to make sure you know that, like, yes, Alencia is the good guy for crushing this rebellion. I wish we got a little bit more time to understand, like, what Ludwig would actually do in power, or, like, you know, what we stand to lose. But I do think it's enough to be interesting. Yeah, so these guys are doing, like, no damage to our paladins.
So yeah, I guess, like, this is one of those situations where we are just going to charge forward and, like, take out any stragglers.
More or less, yeah. I think we have to treat it like chess and let the pawns move first.
In that situation, then, like, I think what we can do is kind of, like, I think our main goal, like, overall, should be make sure that our units get at least one kill every turn. Or at least try to.
Yeah, try to get one kill per unit every turn.
Yes. Especially with the likes of Makalov and
Astrid
on our team.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Astrid fans. Astrid really gets shot down in Radiant Dawn.
Unfortunately.
She doesn't have very good availability. Her stats aren't good. There's not much to her character. Because,
and it kind of sucks, too, because her character kind of got regulated to she's kind of madly in love with Makalov.
Yeah, that's kind of her one character trait in this one, is that she likes Makalov.
Yeah, and if you ask me, that kind of does a disservice to her more than it does Heather, who we get almost little to nothing on.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations where it's like, you know, yeah, this is a thing, but I kind of wish we just got nothing instead. Like, no offense to, like, Astrid. I actually genuinely like Astrid to a certain degree.
Like, you wish she was just here as a knight.
Not just that, I kind of wish we got a little... Like, I know, like, you can get it from, like, support conversations and whatnot, but we don't get that whole spiel of, like, you know... Unless you do the support conversations, which I suppose is the point.
Yeah.
You don't really get anything in regards to why she left her family house, why she's on this, like, why she enlisted as a knight and everything. They recently did an event in Fire Emblem Heroes where these characters do get a little more, like, you know, development in regards to, like, you know, what they're actually...
Yeah.
What kind of people they are and, like, what they actually did and everything and why they do what they do. And, like, they actually did a really, really cool thing with Astrid.
What they do?
It was the whole, like, you know, you have all this luxury and all this, like, you know, power and all this, like, you know, you're not wanting for anything, but you're basically in a fancy prison. You are basically being brought low by the people who you supposedly thought would have your best interest in heart.
I would move her back, actually.
Yeah, I'm gonna move her over here, actually.
Because she can't counter.
Mm-hmm. Like, she basically, she was being oppressed by her family. She was being, for lack of a better term, groomed.
Yeah, okay.
And they did a really, really cool bit where they paired her up with Air, who is the daughter of Hell, and her whole thing is... her whole thing is that, like, she was basically... Her life was basically nothing but being used as fuel for the god of death.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, she was saved. She was, like, the second most powerful person in the entirety of Hell, but it was just a fancy prison. And they had this whole thing where, like, they look up at the stars, and, like, you know... they kind of find hope in the stars that, like, even the dullest and dimmest star can shine brightly with time and effort. And it was really cool. I actually like seeing that with Astrid.
Yeah, it's fun how the mobile games can do these sorts of things in, like, a not completely canon setting, but still, like, you know, it can paint your perception of the main games.
I do appreciate the mobile games for actually having the ability to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nice to see.
Pokemon Masters is another example of there's, like, a lot of conversations in those, since it's just like throwing Pokemon characters from every generation together.
Yeah.
But, like, you get some neat conversations, and sometimes they've, like, established new lore or, like, have confirmed fan theories through it and stuff.
Exactly.
And it's not, like, strictly canon, but, like, who cares? It's interesting.
Yeah, like, I also, like, they kind of, like, did this in the anime, but they kind of, also asserted it a little bit in Pokemon Masters as well, and it's nothing big. It's nothing, like, significant, but it's funny and entertaining, is that Alder has a huge freaking crush on Cynthia.
I mean, who doesn't?
But, like, they play it up with Alder, and it's actually really, really fun and cute.
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciate the fact that, like, you know, Cynthia plays along with it. She has no interest in Alder whatsoever, but she plays along with it because she likes the guy.
Yeah.
And that's adorable, you know? I wanna see more things like that. I'm gonna go for the kill.
Okay. There's a neat thing with there's a conversation between Cyrus and Sophocles that I like a lot in Pokemon Masters.
Really?
Yeah, because Sophocles, one of his partners in that game can be Rotom. And,
okay.
And Cyrus, like, it basically establishes that, like, Cyrus spent a lot of his life trying to, like, understand Rotom. And there's this whole backstory. I'm not going to do well trying to recall the details of it, but there's this fan theory that has to do with Cyrus and Rotom, and that the old chateau actually was, like, his family's chateau.
Oh, yeah. They actually, I think they have a thing about that in what's it called? In Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. I don't remember exactly what, but that old chateau thing, you actually do have to go there in order to find Rotom.
Yeah, well, that's how it was in the original, too. That's where you found Rotom.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, there are fan theories a lot, because, like, what the heck is the deal with the old chateau? Why is it so weird?
Yeah.
And a theory for a really long time was that Cyrus came from like a well-to-do family, and that was like their house, and something bad went down there. Maybe even like his sister, like the ghost of the girl is his sister, and that's like part of what painted his perception of wanting to change the universe.
Pokemon is no stranger to having like those really, really weird instances, especially with the ghost aspect of Pokemon in general, in that, oh, hey, it's like, why do we have, like, these ghost characters all of a sudden just, like, you know, they appear and then they disappear after, like, giving you an item, and they, like, are always in your peripheral vision, and then all of a sudden, and then they don't have a freaking walk cycle?
Yeah, so they...
Dude, that freaked me out in Black 2 White 2! Was it Black 2 White 2 or Black and White?
I can remember one in X and Y very vividly.
Or was it X and Y?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was X and Y.
The 3D one where
like when you go into the tower or into that one building, you enter, and then all of a sudden this like hex maniac just like
she comes out of the elevator behind you and just kind of slides around you.
And she has no walk cycle, and it's like, what the frick?
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
Because I think
like everyone is like, what the fuck was that?
I think the Old Chateau was the first time they did like the human ghost thing, and now it's become a tradition.
Mm-hmm. And that's like total, like, you know, that's pandering to me because I freaking love like ghost, the aspect or like the idea of like how ghosts work in the world and whatnot, and like, you know, it's kind of funny. I like the science, quote unquote, behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is like, oh, we have all these different names for different ghosts, like poltergeists and like revenants and like specters, ghouls, spirits,
shades,
yeah, things like that. That's part of the reason I love Gengar so much, because like he goes from like throughout the evolutions of Gengar, they switch between like 3 different types of ghosts. Ghastly is a will-o-wisp, Haunter is a specter, and Gengar is a doppelganger.
Okay.
Or a
mimic?
A revenant? I think it's a revenant actually, because the whole idea is like there's a type of
I think a revenant is like a skeleton. I think.
Yeah, but the idea
that comes from like Irish.
But I think the idea of revenant is that like if you go back to the translation of like the root words for revenant, it means to walk again, and that's why Gengar is the only one in that evolutionary line with legs. Because he can walk.
Okay.
So he walks again.
Bit of a stretch, but it's a fun theory. I like it.
That's what I recall. Like, again, this is coming from like me watching Loxin and Noggin movie.
I mean, it's hard to tell how much of these were intentional in the designs, but it's always fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Where are you? Astrid, you're all the way over here. Don't worry, we'll protect her.
Yeah, so it's fun that like, because the mobile games. These games have been around long enough that there are, like, fans now, and I think it tends to be fans of the main games who get to be writing all of the flavor text for the mobile games.
Yeah.
So they put in stuff they want to see, and that's why you, like in the one, like, Valentine's Day event in Fire Emblem Heroes, they, like, kind of confirmed that Titania had a thing for Grail.
Yeah, they did, actually. And, not gonna lie, I thought that was actually really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, which was only kind of speculated before that.
Nice work, Devden. Or Danved. God, that's gonna be hard to do!
Devden is not here. This is Danvid.
I am sorry! Devden's Danvid, Denda's David, Denda's
I think every game should have a guy that looks like that with a different, like, anagram.
Oh, dear.
I want to see... I want an update to 3 houses with like, Vadnad. Vadnid.
David.
Yeah, or just David.
There's not a Fire Emblem character named David, is there?
Not to my recollection.
Which is funny, because, like, you'd think that would be so easy. I mean, I guess, like, you know... I'm trying to think of it now. They have a lot of, like, Renaissance / Shakespearean / like, Middle Ages type names.
And a lot of biblical names,
too, yeah.
Because you got Cain and Abel.
Yeah, like, they were the originals. But, like, you know, it was pretty obvious where they were going with Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, like, we don't have, like, those common names that we're familiar with when it comes to these Fire Emblem characters. Like, we don't have a Steve. We don't have a John.
Yeah. You know,
we have an Oscar, shockingly enough.
Yeah. Oscar is, like, just uncommon enough.
Yeah.
You know the TV trope, Aerith and Bob?
Yes.
When a universe has, really common names and really out there names.
Yeah. That's Fire Emblem, kind of, in a nutshell. Is that whole deal of, like, common yet, like, uncommon names as well. Because, you got characters like, what's a good example?
Well, I mean, you got, like, Odin.
That's true. Though Odin is technically a made-up name, because he was originally Owain.
Yeah.
I still think that whole spiel is dumb, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm not a huge... That was always kind of silly to me, but those three characters that are in Fates that change their name...
It was Severa to Selena, Owain to Odin, and Inigo to Laszlo.
Yeah. And then...
You're still attacking, sir, and yet you are so weak. You're gonna die, man.
So where did we land on that? Like, it's been so long I kind of forget.
What?
So, like, Odin, Laszlo, and Selena, are they the same characters from Awakening who just have, like, come to Nor?
Via the Dragon's Gate.
Yeah.
It's like, for some reason, some emissary from the world of Fire Emblem Fates was like, this world is going to need heroes that can stand with the main heroes to overcome the trials that they will face. And supposedly, from what I'm to understand, and again, I think this is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
Supposedly, those three characters were chosen because they were deemed fan favorites. So they were like, people absolutely loved Inigo, they loved Severa, they loved Owain.
And then on the other side you had...
Cordelia, Tharja, and Gaius.
And Gaius.
So they became, respectively, Rajat, or not, Cordelia became Kaeldori, Tharja became Rajat, and
Gaius
became Aski.
Yeah.
And the whole idea is that supposedly...
That was even weirder because they're born into that universe.
And they came supposedly... I keep saying supposedly to Fates, and it's or to Awakening, and it's dumb. Like, it's just really dumb. I'm sorry. But that's just me, like, waxing my usual spiel on just how dumb a lot of the story decisions...
To me, that just doesn't really add anything.
It really doesn't. It's just, like, kind of pandering to the audience.
And, why does it have to be a separate universe? If you wanted to do that, just have it be, like, different continents.
Honestly, like, I'm surprised that, like, they didn't go in that direction, because it's, like, you would think... Because you would think it would be in the same universe or something, but like these wars are going on in different countries. That's not unheard of, you know. So it's like, why make it this way? I mean, I guess with how many Fire Emblem games there are, like having a world with all of these different wars and all of these different, like, it would be a little weird. But then I'm like, well, then have them happen throughout different time periods. Like, it is established that, like, you know, the Radiant Hero of Legend, Ike, and the Great Hero King, Marth, happened in ancient times, if like, Awakening is to be believed.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, just have it happen in ancient times. We're having, like, different time periods here.
Yeah, I was pretty excited when it was implied that, like, all of them existed on the same planet. And then when it started becoming like, oh, they're all, like, alternate universes from each other, that's where I kind of... Like, then it didn't really feel like it mattered anymore.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad, too, because, like, that just feels like they pandered it in preparation for the mobile game, which, you know what, I can understand that, but then just make the mobile game and just, like, have it be non-canon.
So wait a second. Then... Oh yeah, that's fine for Fire Emblem Heroes. That's fine.
Exactly.
Fire Emblem Heroes needs an excuse plot. I'm okay with excuse plots.
Exactly.
It's just Fire Emblem... Fates and Fire Emblem Awakening are not excuse plots. Those plots are important to the game they're in.
Exactly. And that kind of goes into, like, why you and I, at least, really, really like games like this one, like Radiant Dawn, and, like, Blazing Sword and Sacred Stones and all that, is that, like, the stories... The stories are good, especially really good when, like, brought into the context of the rest of the franchise, but their narratives stand on their own, and that's perfectly fine. In fact, it's kind of preferred.
How do you feel about Emmeryn in Fire Emblem Awakening? Emmeryn is the oldest sister.
Yes.
Things don't go very well for her. That's like the big sad part in the first third of the game. But then you can find her and she's playable.
I was willing to forgive it at the time because, like, you know, it's kind of sort of an extra thing. You can only get that if you go into the post-game.
Yeah.
Which I guess is alright, but honestly, it kind of does, like, take away from just how poignant that whole situation was.
Yeah, I never felt like her being there was canonical. I always felt like it was just a bonus. But they, like, explain it as if it's...
Exactly,
canonical.
and it's like, you don't need to do that. Radiant Dawn did the exact same thing with the extra modes. You can get, or like Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn did the exact same things with the extra modes. You can play as Grail. You can play as Patrine. You can play as, like, all, you know, all these other units that are supposedly dead.
As Bertram.
But the game makes it clear that these are just bonus units. They are not actually a part of the story. You're just able to play them as if how they were if they actually were units. And that was fine. Like, I was fine being able to play as Patrine, but, like, you know, having the context of, oh, this isn't real.
I guess there's so much more dialogue in Awakening, like, not just for cutscenes, but for, like, character interactions and stuff. They probably felt compelled to, like, write a reasoning for Emerin to be there.
Yeah, but at the same time, you don't really need to do that. Like, you want to know another game that did the whole thing of, you know, oh yeah, these characters are dead, but suddenly they're playable, but they give no explanation. You can just play as them and that's it. Sacred Stones! Sacred Stones has some of the boss units that you can beat.
That's true.
And some of the characters that are actually not even on the map, like freaking, like, the Queen of Navasa. And it's like, you know, you can play as them. And the game gives no explanation. It's just like, oh no, you did this extra thing that is, like, on the side. It's an extra thing. Have fun.
Yeah,
and suddenly you can play as Volter, and it's great.
Yeah, and as, like,
we don't need an explanation.
Fado, and as, like, Ismare.
Yeah, we don't need an explanation for any of this.
All the dead people.
You know? And again, like, maybe this is just, maybe, I will grant you this. Maybe this is just me being a Fire Emblem purist or something like that, but not really, because I love Awakening. I love Fate's gameplay.
Yeah.
I love Three Houses. I think the new generation Fire Emblem games are fantastic, but they are being plagued, admittedly, with some modern day mindsets. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it definitely shows.
I think, I mean, there's a definite shift to making it more of, like... I mean, the joke is people say it's like a dating sim now.
Yeah, like, you know, the classic... They basically say, oh, it's waifu emblem.
And I don't think that's entirely a bad thing, because especially that, like, if that's the mindset that caused them to, like, have more, like, quips and stuff like that, and, like, things they say during critical hitting animations and stuff, then, like, great.
Yeah, that's fine. Honestly, like, I think Three Houses did it the best way possible. They, like, Three Houses is also kind of sort of, like, waifu bait. I'm not going to say that. Like, there, God knows Dorothea is a character.
Yeah,
but they also made Dorothea one of the most compelling characters in that game.
I think they dialed back the waifu bait a little bit in Three Houses.
They did, and I think it was for the better. Like, what they did in Three Houses, I think, was brilliant in that they made every single one of the playable characters appealing in some way, shape, or form, and they gave them very, very genuinely, like, we were explaining this, like, a couple of chapters ago, three-dimensional stories, and, like, made them three-dimensional characters. It's there if you want to see it.
Yeah.
They made it optional, but if you go through that option, suddenly the world becomes a lot more expansive, a lot more detailed. Suddenly you get context into why these characters are the way they are, and I think that's the way to do it, especially in a game like Fire Emblem, where there's so many characters to keep track of. You don't... Like, when you start giving complex characters that you have to look at with every single one of these, like, games, it becomes a case of too much.
I mean, Radiant Dawn is the most that. Like, there's a lot of characters here that do serve a function in the main story.
Yes.
For at least a little bit of it. So, people who aren't crazy about the Tellius saga, they'd say it's a case of too many characters. And, like... I understand that criticism if, like, these aren't your games.
Yeah. But, to that, at least, like, in my personal opinion, obviously, to that, I say, well, yeah, there is a lot to take in. You don't, in order to get, like, the quote-unquote full experience, you don't have to. You don't, like, have to see this to it. You don't have to see Danved's story to see the full scope of, like, you know, the main narrative. You don't have to know everything about Makalov in order to, like, get the full context of what's going on between the wars here.
Yeah.
But once you do, it's a nice little addition. It adds another cherry to the cake.
For the most part, like, you don't need any of the support conversations. Like, what you get in the main story of Path of Radiance is enough to understand most of what happens in Radiant Dawn.
Exactly.
Even character cameos. Like, Makalov can be as small a character in this as he was in the first game.
I agree. So yeah, like, this is, like, the way we see it, and if anyone else sees it differently, like, that's perfectly fine. Like, and I've talk to people who are like, you know, oh yeah, like, we totally appreciate these games. We totally understand why they are the way they are, but I just couldn't get into them for one reason or another. Like, I know plenty of people who are like, oh yeah, no, I recognize the merit of these games. They're just not for me. And that's perfectly fine. In fact, so, like, it's funny. I talked to a lot of my friends who, like, are now suddenly fans of Fire Emblem. One of the most, like, prominent ones is, like, Ari and Josh Scorcher. And the reason they got into it was not just because they made the characters more appealing, not just because, like, you know, they refined the mechanics or anything. One word. Casual.
Yeah.
The addition of casual mode made this game so much more palatable for so many people.
Even outside of the casual mode to make people not die, and that's a huge thing, but also there's just so many...
Oh, that's a catapult!
Yeah. There's so many little quality of life improvements starting in Awakening that I really appreciate.
I completely agree.
I love Awakening. I think Awakening's a great game, and that's always when somebody's like, I want to play Fire Emblem, where should I start? A lot of times I tell them Awakening.
Awakening is an excellent place to start if you want to get into the Fire Emblem franchise. The other thing that they did also is streamline the support system, which I think went a long way into creating a roster of characters that people were just destined to fall in love with.
Yeah. I guess part of the, like, Emerin thing, that like
going back to that, yeah.
Like you said, how it was like, hey, there's more story. Like, if you want to learn more.
Yeah.
I guess, like, things like Emerin and Yenfei and Walhart and Gangrel and what's her name, Aversa.
Aversa, yeah. Aversa. Here's the thing. Certain characters I'm actually okay with. Like, I can understand Aversa staying alive, actually. To a certain extent.
That's the one out of those 5 that makes the most sense to me.
In my opinion, yes, because it's like, oh no, I actually stayed alive, and, you know, I served Gangrel for one reason or another. But it's like, you know, it made sense. Alright, we can handle this.
Okay, what do we have here?
Iron Blade, Wind Edge, Steel Lance, Steel Lance.
Alright, so I think if Kieran can... Yeah.
Here's the problem. These bushes, these thickets are slowing us down, which at the same time slows them down. So I think we can just let them come to us.
Okay, so do you want to just... Yeah, okay.